Our first presenter is Melita Husan, who will be presenting their project, Winnipeg Transit Companion Smart Bus Planner App. Let's welcome Melita to the stage.
Imagine this. You need to bus to a very important event tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning. You check Navigo to plan your trip, and then you check your weather app to prepare for the cold, and you check your bus app multiple times to make sure you won't miss your ride. You leave a little early, and halfway to your bus stop, you realize you left your Pego card at home. You rush back, you grab your card, and you run to your bus stop, hoping you won't slip on black ice. And when you finally get there and you check your bus app, you realize your bus is going to be another 10 minutes late. You wait there shivering in the cold and watch as your bus finally approaches you. And when it does, you watch in horror as it flies right past you, packed full, leaving you stranded for another 20 minutes. Frustrating, isn't it? A 2019 survey by the Canadian Transit Association found that half of Winnipeg's residents think that our transit infrastructure is outdated. 21 out of 28 of the respondents from our own survey stated that they have missed a bus due to overcrowding before. With transit modernization already a priority, there's no better time than now to introduce Bus Sync, your real-time transit companion that will make your transit experience as stress-free as possible, not just in Winnipeg, but nationwide. Bus Sync doesn't just show you when your bus will arrive, it tells you so and does so much more. Unlike current transit apps, Bus Sync syncs your entire transit experience into one seamless platform. With real-time tracking, you know exactly when your bus will get here. Smart notifications means that you never have to refresh your app multiple times to check if your bus is going to be late or early. Live crowd tracking means you know if your bus will be too crowded for you before you leave your home. AI-powered smart scheduling means that you just have to put in your destination and the time, and Bus Sync does the rest. Or better yet, just sync your whole schedule in there. Last but not least, besides using your physical Pego card, with digital Pego integration, you can just tap your phone and go. And on top of that, you could check the balance on your Pego and reload it, all in our app. So why now? With the recent US tariffs being imposed in Canada, automobile prices are set to go up by $6,000, which means that now is the time to promote public transit as the smarter alternatives to let commuters get where they need to be hassle-free, and you save on parking. Using the bus means that we also reduce the congestion on roads and we reduce our carbon footprint. And let's face it, Winnipeg winters are already tough. We don't need buses to make it worse. Imagine a Winnipeg or a Canada where traveling using the bus in the winter doesn't feel like a gamble and you never have to wonder if your bus is too crowded for you. That's the kind of future we're trying to build with Bus Sync, and we want you to be a part of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for this. Now, judges, are you ready for your questions? Okay. Who's going to go first?
Can you hold this?
All right. First question.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation, and thank you for going first. So I think you've clearly identified how your Bus Sync is superior to Navigo, but you mentioned that you wanted to go nationwide. So can you tell me a little bit about some of the other competitors across the country, and do they have any of these features?
So for now, we don't know the existence of these apps. Most people use different apps like Google Maps, Winnipeg Transit. There's for every city has their own infrastructure for bus, and they have their own specific app, just like Winnipeg has the Winnipeg Bus Life app. And the problem with that is that you have to go from one app to another to know the timings and the routes and the weather. So the pitch of the reason why our app is different is because it integrates everything into one app, so you don't have to switch. It becomes user-friendly, and it makes traveling more easier, especially in the harsh weather. And that is why we want to expand it nationwide, especially in regions where it's a smaller city, right? Just like Winnipeg.
You talked a little bit about a survey that you did and maybe some engagement to characterize the problem. I'm interested in knowing more about your customer or the end user and how you would go about exploring that. Would you look at sort of broadening that sort of individual user that uses public transportation? Would you look at targeting transportation, like the city? What would your next steps be to explore sort of who your customer is and how to sell it?
That's a great question. That is actually one of the reasons, one of the things we first researched before we started our app, which was we want to expand transit to become accessible to everybody, not just university students or people that do not have the access to a car, right? So we made sure our survey wasn't just to young people that take the bus every day to university, but also senior citizens that don't have the ability to take a car, or people that cannot afford access to a mobile wheel, right? So we tried to do the survey to be a big audience where we not just promote, but we also ask, hey, did you used to take the transit? Why did you take the transit? Or what's the issue that you face with transit today? And if there's anything we can do to promote it so more people are prone to take it and rather not just spend money on Uber if they don't have the access to an access mobile wheel.
So my judges have both stolen my two questions that I had teed up. So I'll just say good job.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, are we ready for our second presenter? Her name is Rana Ahmed, and she'll be presenting their project, A Smarter Way to Stop Cholera Outbreaks. No antibiotics needed. Let's welcome Rana to the stage.
Imagine losing a child, not to war, not to violence, but to cholera. Cholera bacteria infect the cells of the gut, where they produce a toxin that leads to characteristic watery diarrhea. If left untreated, patients suffer from cholera will experience a severe dehydration and a possible death within just a matter of hours. Right now, millions are at risk. Just 3 weeks ago, Haiti faced another deadly cholera outbreak. The heartbreaking reality is cholera continues to harm communities worldwide, from Middle East to Ukraine and beyond. You might think cholera is a problem of the past or only affect distant countries, but outbreaks even occur in developed nations. After natural crises, when clean water becomes rare, cholera spread quickly and the current treatment fails to keep up. Right now the solution is antibiotics, but they came with major limitation. They require doctor prescription, make it nearly impossible to access in war zones and disaster-stricken areas. It expired quickly, losing their effectiveness over time. Cholera bacteria become resistant to most antibiotics, making treatment less effective. And perhaps worst of all, it disrupts the gut natural bacteria, causing side effects and allergy, leaving patients vulnerable to other infection. What if we fight cholera with something smarter? Not traditional antibiotic, but probiotics, a good bacteria that live naturally within our guts. Our idea is to engineer these probiotics to produce antibody that prevent cholera from attachment to the gut. This probiotic will be supplemented with fatty acid that prevent cholera from producing its deadly toxins. This mix is powerful. It's freeze-dried, shelf-stable, require no refrigeration, make it easy to access in case of disasters. No prescription needed, no need to wait for doctor visits. Unlike antibiotic, it supports the digestive system and boosts the immune system. Safe for all ages, for children, for grandparents, for everyone. Most importantly, it fights cholera without contributing to antibiotic resistance. It is simple to distribute, just grab and go, allowing anyone to take it whenever needed. It also supports mental health and can be tweaked to fight other pathogenic bacteria too. Just a simple package of powder could save that child anywhere in the world. It's optionally accessible and affordable. With this probiotic, cholera doesn't stand a chance. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, now you did it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take our 2-minute questions.
Okay, great job. I have a question about how far along are you in terms of your R&D and development? Have you tested this at cell culture level, or have you done some animal studies? What does sort of the next 6 to 12 months look like for the development of this therapeutic?
Yeah. So actually, we are in the idea phase. But during the coaching sessions, Dr. Andrew from the Innovation and Partnership was very impressed by the idea, and they invited us to connect with him to see how this idea will go further. For the next 6 months, to be honest, I'm expecting baby just in 2 months, but like my team members will go forward with this as a really a little better way. But like we also have a plan for. We have a plan for what we're going to do next, as research and development, then the clinical trials, and how we're going to distribute this.
I have a question, and this is not my area of expertise, but is this something that has been demonstrated to be effective with some strains or plus fatty acids, or just with some strains and something else, or what has been demonstrated as effective so far?
Yeah.
And maybe a part 2 is like, has there been any use of AI in sort of enabling a rapid discovery?
Can I go back?
Yeah.
This. Yeah. So actually, like probiotics are in the market. They are very effective, but they are only to help support gastrointestinal health. So our innovative one is just very specific to bacteria. And the supplement fatty acid, I can't say a lot about it, as like Andrew told me not to say what is it, but actually, but actually it's like a derivative from fatty acids, and it's just like in the research, it found to inhibit this toxin, but it's not in the market.
Thank you so much. Great job. So you mentioned that you're kind of in the ideation stage here, but could you tell us just a little bit about what you're thinking about for an early adopter? Like, who could be a first customer?
So, disaster relief organization, the government, pharmaceutical and biotech company as well, and also for the military organization. Also, because like cholera is very spreading in war zones. So also for military organization, it will be a good customer. Yeah.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much. And our next presenter is Elaine Schultz, and she'll be presenting their project, Streamlining Identification and Diagnosis, a faster and simpler tool for Acinetobacter species. Let's welcome Elaine to the stage.
Antimicrobial resistance is a worldwide threat. The average antimicrobial resistance hospital case, or AMR case, in Canada is $18,000. This is a total in 2018 of $1.4 billion in costs because of the antimicrobial resistance in Canada. By 2050, this is only expected to get worse. It is estimated that there will be 10 million deaths associated or attributable to antimicrobial resistance, as well as costs skyrocketing to $100 trillion. One of the bacteria that contribute to this antimicrobial resistance issue is Acinetobacter species. They have been deemed an urgent threat by the CDC, and they have also been named one of the top 5 pathogens by the World Health Organization due to the mortality of their infections. They are a group of bacteria that are very closely related and present their infections very similarly, though their antimicrobial resistance may vary. And it is similar to if you think of COVID. There is COVID, but there is also different variants of COVID. That is how this works. There is Acinetobacter species, and there are different species. My solution to this is digital PCR master mix, where it's similar to like 23andMe. You mail in your samples of urine or blood or sputum or samples from wounds, and with the master mix, you put it through the machine, and it's very simple. One color is one species. This is critical in early diagnosis because different species have different antimicrobial resistance, and it is with this resistance that they need to be treated properly, or it can lead to further antimicrobial resistance. This is just in the idea stage, though there is previous work done in collaboration with our lab that has shown that there is the ability to use primers to differentiate these species, which would help in the diagnosis. This could also be used since Acinetobacter species are found in the environment, and these infections, though, are typically hospital acquired, usually immunocompromised, though they actually can be community acquired as well. So overall, with the early diagnosis of which species helping in outbreak situations, or also just for treatment of individuals, this will lead to a decrease in the hospital stays, a decrease in the hospital costs, and an increase in the survival and life expectancy of those infected. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, judges, you ready? We'll start our 2 minutes.
Ready? Okay. I don't think you'll be too surprised by this this question, but in terms of what is already in use clinically, if you were able to get your diagnostic scaled up in clinical use, how would it compare in terms of costs and sensitivity to what's currently in use?
So with regards to cost, that I'm not entirely sure about. That's a really good question. But with the ease of it and just the quick one, you see the color, you know which species it is. That's what's really going to help with time and also with associated costs. It also is helpful that if we end up with it like a 23andMe mail-in service, it will also help with rural hospital cases as well.
Thank you so much, and I really want to commend you on a couple of techniques you used to help us understand. It's, you said it's like 23andMe, it's like COVID, so that was really helpful. Thank you. I'm curious about, you mentioned a few times about this being mail-in, or the possibility of that. Do you see any possibility for this test being done like in clinic or in hospital to shorten that time?
Yeah, so what it actually is it's a mix. So it's one tube with everything ready to go, and then when they add the DNA into it, what will bind, so if it's species 1, when it binds, it would just be green, and that will tell you it's species 1. So as long as they have the right machine to do it, I mean, most hospitals nowadays are sequencing and they're getting the genus level. There is automated systems that they have for this as well, but it typically is genus level. It is just Acinetobacter, and they're just saying it's Acinetobacter. But to know which species of Acinetobacter, that's where the unknown is, and that's what I'm trying to bridge with exactly which species it is that they need to treat.
Great job.
Thank you.
I had a question. I'm going to touch on a little bit more on sort of timelines and stability, because I think one of the real challenges one of the many challenges that we have with the healthcare system as it's set up in Canada right now is around providing proper support to rural and remote areas.
Yeah.
And so, it's sort of a bit of a two-part question. Sort of the first half of it is what's the stability? So say we're at a nursing outpost station, and you have a patient that comes in, and the nurse takes a swab. Is there a timeline that swab needs to be analyzed? Is it very, very stable? Is it something that can go into an envelope or needs to go onto, say, wet ice in order to get to a lab?
So with bacteria, and everything grows differently, they do tend to continue to grow. So obviously with it being mailed in, the bacteria could continue to replicate. So that is one of the things that we would have to combat with this. Ice obviously does slow their growth, but it would be something that we would have to look at for when it becomes a mail-in service.
Yeah, with only 22 seconds, I'll talk to you afterwards for my my question. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Fabien Rodin will be presenting their project Amplify RX, one step ahead of antimicrobial resistance. Let's welcome Fabien to the stage.
Hey everybody, my name is Fabien Rodin, and together with my colleague Daniel Paul, I want to introduce you to Amplify RX, our idea for checkmating drug resistance. Now this is Agnes, and Agnes has to go to the hospital, but unlike the two projects before, she's not infected by a bacteria but a virus, which happened a lot recently if you remember COVID. She goes to the hospital, she gets an antiviral treatment, symptoms go down, but the problem is after 1 day of recovery, suddenly the symptoms are back. Doctor says, we're sorry, we got to try something else. She has to stay in the hospital. What happened is that the virus responded to the drug, was becoming resistant against it. And our solution for this problem is to use computational methods to identify novel second drugs that can specifically target the resistant variant and, together with the first drug, prevent any further resistance from occurring. With this, pharma companies can win this arms race, they can safeguard their investment, and they can provide fail-safe treatments for patients. Now, drug development usually starts by taking a large pool of compounds and putting them through a funnel of trials, testing them for costs, side effects, water solubility, and so on, in a process that can take up to 15 years, which then results in one final FDA-approved drug. At that point, the company can finally make money on that project. That is, unless drug resistance strikes. And the problem is drug resistance strikes at the tail end of the funnel, it kills the investment, and the whole process has to start anew again. However, gaining resistance is a trade-off for a virus. Like all viral proteins are made out of amino acids, they interact with each other in the three-dimensional space and they form a network. During resistance, one of these amino acids mutates, which then affects the overall network. This is what gives the virus a resistance. This is what makes Agnes sick for the second time again, but it comes at the cost of reduced efficiency for the virus. So for the virus, it's a little bit like a move on a chessboard. It changes the overall situation, but there's like no perfect formation. Every move is kind of a trade-off between offense and defense. When you now have two resistances at the same time, this is a severe impact for the network whose outcomes are really hard to predict. It's a little bit like playing three-dimensional chess, if you've ever seen Star Trek. And our idea is to do exactly that. We play three-dimensional chess against the virus, and we checkmate it. We do this by making computer simulations of all these double-resistant variants. We create their networks digitally, and we predict which combination of resistances is too much for the virus to bear. Then we use AI to identify the parameters the drug must fulfill to do exactly that. Specifically target the resistance and together with the first drug prevent any further resistance from occurring. And with this, pharma companies can take the second drug into an accelerated drug funnel. So with Amplify RX, pharma companies can extend their product life cycle, they can increase their market share, and most importantly, they can reduce hospital stay and deaths. Thank you.
Great job, Fabien. That's so good. Okay, we've got 2 minutes on the clock. Off we go.
Okay, great job. So my question is around sort of the business model. So as say you go ahead with a startup, it's the plan to sort of offer your AI, your development method to pharma companies? Is it to collaborate with them to create new drugs in partnership? And then, my other sort of half of this just is, I'm gonna steal a second question, is that are the compounds and the new drugs that come out of your assessment, are they going to be completely novel, or are they going to be something that already exists out in the market and that you're looking to repurpose for antiviral use?
Yes, perfect. So yes, first we're business to business because our target, could be any pharma company, but obviously it would be pharma companies that have the first drug and the resistance is there because they have that tail end funnel problem. So they have a high interest in paying us to recover the first drug investment. So that's our primary customer. Now, when it comes to the new drugs, we completely try to predict for each target what are potential drugs that could fulfill like this interlocking inhibition mode. And so the result will be like, these are the 20 most likely structures. So those can be ones that already exist, which would be great, but it can also be completely novel ones. It's really dependent on the target and on the process. And obviously then the pharma company can decide which route they want to go.
My question is about sort of the uniqueness of your solution. AMR is a global challenge, as you've mentioned. Many pharma companies are trying to race to address some of these multiple resistances, and AI tools are prominent in computational models. So what is it about your solution that's sort of unique and that isn't sort of already under development by major pharmaceutical companies?
Okay, so our unique approach is exactly trying to tackle these Doppler resistance versions where it's like, okay, how can we get a situation where either one of the two drugs work or there's mutational overload? And so far, we're the only ones I've ever seen that try to actively predict it. Like if you give patients drugs and you see what happens, that's already in there. But so far, there's no one that tried to predict that. And with AMR, we specifically target viruses. So that is very different from the antimicrobial resistance that the other two projects and many others talk about. So we really focus on this one specific thing. And again, it sounds crazy, but I haven't seen anyone trying this approach. Since like 1 year, I thought there must be someone, but so far I'm lucky.
Okay, great job. Thank you. So my question is, what happens next? What would be like the next best thing, the next right thing you want to do, maybe on the science or on the entrepreneurial potential of this? What would you do next?
Okay, so on the science side, I have this thing called being in a PhD, so that is fairly settled. So we're currently predicting it on a well-known target. So we have all the data and we're trying like, okay, can we validate the algorithm? And then I go in the lab and say, can I test it in the real world? That's what I have to do anyways to get my PhD. On the business side, I'm currently in all the different entrepreneur systems that the university has to offer and currently go in all those pitch competitions and everything. So far that's going good. And the next thing,
Awesome. Good job. Here, I can take this. Our next group is Project 5. This is Toby Orlanipikun, and their project is Bioinform Her, empowering women in bioinformatics. Let's welcome Toby to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Imagine as we are all seated in this room and you get the constant feeling of not being alone, of not being in a place that you should be. This is the current situation of a story of my friend who is a female that was interested in the field of bioinformatics. She has heard about how impactful it can be on healthcare and in research, but she faced a major challenge of not feeling among. And a major reason for that is because of the huge 80 to 20% gender disparity that is currently seen in the field. Women are severely underrepresented in this field, and same can be said for other minority groups also. Now, we then spoke with other women and other minority groups and found out that this is a problem that is due to a psychological and systemic barrier, such as the perceived complexity of the field, the absence of visible female role models, and the absence of a community that will allow them to grow. And this is more than just a diversity issue. It's also the lack of the research perspectives and the research approaches that is lost when minority groups and women are not included in bioinformatics research and question. Our solution to this today is Bioinformer. We are building a platform where we are bridging bioinformatics skill development with mentorship, representation, and community. We are building a platform where women and other minority groups can find one-on-one mentorship, where we break down complex bioinformatics concepts into easy to do and easy to follow tasks, and also where we provide a supportive and caring community that ensures the growth of these people interested in bioinformatics. And we've been doing this for over a year now on LinkedIn, where we've grown and amassed more than 7,000 followers who are showing that this need that we are addressing is a very valid need and crucial need. And also, we've done to celebrate the female experts bioinformaticians, more than 5 stories, telling their stories and their journey in bioinformatics, and also giving out free courses that allow more women to be part of bioinformatics and to build their skill. Beyond the individual careers and pathways that we are improving, we are also addressing a crucial need to ensure that there is more diversity and inclusion in research, such that the questions and approaches that is being used addresses those peculiar needs of women and peculiar and minority groups also. Thank you very much.
Great job, Toby. Okay, we're going to set the clock to 2 minutes, and the questions will begin.
So great job. It's an interesting idea, and my question is, if you had to pick a partner, if you were going to scale this, and if there was somebody within industry or government or within the community, who would you want to partner with to scale this to the next level?
Also, thank you very much. We currently have some partners. So, for instance, we have an organization called Shaping African Women in STEM, who help Black women in STEM to have access to resources. So we are currently in partnership with them. And interestingly, even just last week, we got the funding from the University of Manitoba, the Black Promoting Flourishing Fund, to train about 30 students in bioinformatics skills, and it was really amazing. We did it here at UMSU, so we already have that kind of platform ongoing. So we're also open to organizations like BAM that can help us and provide us a platform to be able to do this more, even for students on campus here. Yeah.
My question's sort of similar. It's sort of, do you see this as being sort of a global brand eventually? How do you plan to scale it? Where do you want to start? What's your plan sort of for the next year? If you could get some funding and investment, where would you direct it?
Okay, I would say our major plan for now is to finalize our platform. We've been able to show this on LinkedIn. We have over 7,000 followers in like about a year. So we are currently working on a platform where we can have people come in, and the platform is going to have both freemium and premium. So people can come in and have access to basic knowledge, and for a little subscription fee, they can have access to mentors and even more complex courses. Yes.
Okay, so I just want to clarify, is your long-term hope that this is for profit, or is this not for profit?
So our long-term hope is to make this for profit, because we also need to pay experts. We need to pay people that can come in and give us very good knowledge, and to get people we have to pay them or give them at least an honorarium for this. So it's not going to be like a major for profit, but just at a very little subscription fee, because we are working with students, maybe something like $5 a month, just to be able to have access to what they need. But again, we are going to have freemium, and we're going to be organizing programs like the one we did with the U of M to be able to like train more students. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, Team 6. This is brought to you by Devin Bath, and Devin's going to be presenting Grad Finder. Let's welcome Devin to the stage.
When I wanted to start my master's, it was incredibly difficult to find a research supervisor. It took me 32 emails and over 70 hours of finding and then researching their research to actually find a supervisor. This is incredibly challenging, and this is incredibly troubling because graduate students are a core part of research today. In fact, graduate students author over 50% of research publications, and they contribute to 200 to 250 billion US research dollars each year. But finding a professor is very hard for students, and we decided to do some market validation and understand if this was a problem for other students. What we found is students have a hard time finding professors and then figuring out what to even put in these emails to professors. In fact, they spend over 100 hours just finding and emailing professors, and fewer than 1/3 of these professors even reply. And so we want to do some market validation as well and figure out this has to be a problem on the professor side. So we decided to talk to some professors, and what we found is professors are receiving over 500 cold emails each year. And when they do need to find a student, they're spending 20 to 25 hours just to recruit that student. So the solution we developed is GradFinder. GradFinder allows professors to post positions and then for students to apply to those positions, saving time and making the process more efficient for everyone. So when you open up GradFinder, this is what you're going to see. And for students, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, you're going to create a profile. 2, you're going to use our proprietary search engine and our filter to quickly find a position, saving you time. And then 3, you're going to write a statement of purpose. You're going to quickly apply to that position. For professors, just as easy. For professors, they're going to create a profile, they're going to upload a research opportunity, and then they're going to use our candidate management system with AI recommendation systems built in to quickly vet students and find the best match for them. So the product is very straightforward. Professors are going to post positions, students are going to apply through those positions, and then professors and students are going to match, and we're going to give you a high quality match. So professors saves you 10 to 15 hours a year while reducing your cold emails, giving you better graduate students. And for students, well, we're going to save you 30 to 60 hours a year and reduce some of that stress that comes with graduate studies. So our team, myself, Devin Bath, I have a background in data analysis. I do the business development. And then my co-founder, Naeem Ben Yunus, he's a web designer and he's also an expert in AI. And we're backed by a very diverse advisory team. So we have venture capital founders as well as finance and then academic experts from here at the University of Manitoba, actually. So we're now starting our beta testing with a queue of professors already from some of the top universities in Canada. Please connect with us afterwards, scan our QR code, and follow our social medias.
All right, great job. All right, you guys are ready? 2 minutes, questions begin.
Great job, guys. So my question is around the business side of things. So there's a couple of ways that you can approach this model. One is that you can charge universities or institutions or professors for the opportunity to post and then sort of make it free for students to apply. Or you can go the other route and you can say professors can post for nothing or for a minimal amount, and then you charge the students. Like, what's your preferred model for this in terms of monetizing it?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go with all of the above. So we actually have multiple revenue streams that we're looking at. So this includes licensing to universities, charging professors to post. But not only this, we've identified multiple customer segments. And one of these customer segments wants to post when they have availability. Another customer segment, well, they just want to get those cold emails out of their inbox. So we give them the management tool side and the AI recommendation side where they can send students for a monthly subscription. And then we're going to charge ads, so targeted ads on the student side. So that's 4 revenue streams.
I would imagine a significant part of the success of this venture would be around how the users find sort of the navigability and user friendliness, as well as the usefulness of the AI tool. Like, am I getting the same results, in terms of the quality of the students as I would get if I put those 20 to 25 hours in or whatever it was. So what is your AI tool screening for exactly? And how will you ensure that it has sort of the same outputs as individual screening through candidates would? And also, how would you address sort of EDI in that to make sure that it's sensitive, that it's addressing EDI and bias and things like that?
So actually, a lot of our market validation has actually been around what makes the best student, what actually makes a good student match. So this comes down to research alignment, goal alignment, and some of this isn't actually skills. So essentially, we use a large language model, and this allows us to screen the statements of purpose and the information and see if this actually aligns with the researcher's goals, their research goals. And on the EDI front, EDI is very difficult. There's multiple ways you can tackle it. So one way that we've implemented is called called anonymization. So we anonymize the first screening of the candidates. So this allows an unconscious view of your potential candidates as you go through. And we can reiterate this model as we go. And on the usability side, obviously we're graduate students, so we're our first testers, and we're privy to many professors who have given us excellent advice. So we're also able to reiterate quickly.
I have a question more for you personally. I know you guys have been at this for a little bit. Aside from maybe like the programming part or even the entrepreneurial part, like, could you identify like 2 or 3 skills that you have developed in this journey?
I would say collaboration more than anything, communication, reaching out to people, putting out your ideas out there, and working in a community in general. It's something that you get to learn as you do it. Aside from the programming stuff or the technical thing, it's just the communication, how to get your idea to people, how to resonate with people. I would say the biggest thing.
Okay, you got 10 seconds. I have a 2-second question for you. You mentioned at some point your background with MyTax and MyTax Global Link. Would you consider MyTax as a test scenario since they're rolled out across Canada and matching internships to professors?
Yeah, so really briefly, we just applied to a BSI through MyTax, and then we're also working with somebody here. We're actually going to potentially hire on a MyTax intern through Accelerate. So yes.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. Next up is Anna Shipilova. She'll be presenting their project, Save the Brie. Let's welcome Anna to the stage.
Imagine the future where your favorite brie and camembert are no longer the same. The texture, the flavor, and even the availability in the stores are unpredictable. And this is not a made-up scenario. It's a looming issue in cheese industry. Penicillium camemberti, the cheese fungus, produces wild mold for brie and camembert. It lost its ability to reproduce sexually a while ago. Since then, cheese producers relied on cloning, so-called copying and pasting same fungus over and over again. Just like photocopying a document. Different alterations accumulate over time, making the text unreadable eventually. The fungus accumulated mutations in its genome, altering its ability to produce spores at the industrial level. You may be wondering why I'm talking about some kind of cheese crisis if there's lots of cheese available in the store. Yes, I do agree. Canadian suppliers are not experiencing any issues. There's lots of cheese available in the grocery stores, and scientists suggest there's no need for concern. After all, the fungus is still available for cheese production. But we're looking at 7 to 10 years of research and development, approval of the product, and scaling up to the industrial level. Doesn't it feel just like missing a deadline? You find yourself being stressed and looking for a solution just before the deadline. Scientists suggest that we should give up and just use a different fungal mold. But then you would have to get used to a new flavor, new texture, green, gray colored cheese. I would say a very tough sell for a traditional cheese lover. And that's how my project emerged. What if instead of replacing the fungus, we could fix it? I suggest the use of CRISPR-Cas9 technology, which is basically molecular scissors that go inside of the fungal cell, replace the genes that accumulate in mutations with their original version. But the project aims not only to replacing those genes that are responsible for color, for texture, but takes a step further and explore an option of restoring sexual reproduction in the fungus. That would allow us to preserve the genetic diversity, as well as provide the long-term stability for cheese producers and suppliers, well, of course, provide you with satisfactory results for your charcuterie boards, and who knows, maybe first Manitoba's brie and camembert. Let's face it, no one wants brie and camembert that is stinkier and funkier than it already is, right?
That's awesome. Thanks, Anna. All right, we have our 2 minutes of questions. Judges? Yeah, you're ready. Okay.
As somebody who really likes cheese, this presentation resonated with me. But my question is around: are there particular regulatory or sort of things around that you would have to be aware of? There's always sometimes questions that come up in the community of like, do I want transgenic cheese? Is this transgenic cheese?
I guess one of the reasons why I chose a CRISPR-Cas9 technology, because it's more recognized in genetically modified products world, and that is something that would allow to expand the market slightly more. But of course, there's certain people, certain organization who would not accept the genetically modified product in any way.
Okay, you mentioned in the timeline slide that there's quite a long runway. So what's next?
I guess for me, as a person who's currently in microbiology and doing my degree in science, I'm more in the research and development part of this project. And I would hope to get into it and just start working on identifying the genes that can be targeted by the technology that I'm planning to use.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll do one more. Is there an opportunity here to expand beyond just the brie and Camembert flavors? If you're using CRISPR-Cas9 to sort of reactivate certain things or change them or stabilize them, could we have a truly novel Manitoba cheese?
I actually have a good example of using the same technology on a different fungus, though, that allowed the scientists to produce the alternative meat. So basically what they were doing is they were playing with textures to make it more just like red, and like you can see all the fibers. That's what they were able to do with that technology. And I guess that's the goal for this one as well, is like go beyond just the Penicillium camemberti that's used for cheese. And I hope for other cheeses that are using similar mold as well.
I'd like to sign up for that taste testing.
Any more questions?
If you were designing sort of an R&D project, like in the next phase of this, how would you integrate sort of like user perspectives and your sort of like, if you were thinking about potential licensing partners down the road and things like that, how would you ensure that the R&D that you were conducting would be sort of developing on the lines that it's going to result in something usable?
I feel like I would firstly, before going into R&D, I would contact even Manitoba's cheese producers, who probably would know more about the regulatory process than I do, as a person who's in just a science part of it, and just try to collaborate with them just to get an idea how the process can be like connected.
And just as a follow-up, and how about any other sort of like potential scientific collaborators or folks who have used CRISPR-Cas9 in a similar sort of process of developing a product to market?
I guess here it's just like contacting the labs that have previously worked with the fungus, not even this particular one. But since that issue was first introduced by the French universities, and they might be working on it, that's just the data is not released yet. And I guess there would be someone who we can contact about that as well.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Thank you. Do you want to give this to Jay? We have our last presenter, and his name is Ajay Dahiya, and he's going to be presenting a project called Nanobubble Technology. Welcome to the stage, Ajay.
Every year, extreme weather conditions cause up to 50% crop loss, forcing farmers to heavily rely on costly chemical fertilizers and pesticides. These not only degrade soil health, but also bringing negative health impacts, one of the key factors in contributing high grocery prices. While climate change accelerating, farmers are more moving towards indoor farming because it provides higher yields and more profits. Canada's indoor farming market is valued to be $9 billion by 2030, and Manitoba's alone is projected to be $372 million. Yet farmers are still struggling with inefficient water use, high operational costs, and heavy chemical reliance for maintaining their constant productivity. And that's to challenge that, our nanobubble technology comes in. It isn't just normal aeration. Nanobubble is 2,000 times smaller than a grain of salt and behaves very differently. It possesses unique characteristics like electrical charge, high gas transfer efficiency, and being neutrally balanced makes it suspended in water up till 9 to 10 months, enhancing water by advanced aeration, flotation, and oxidation processes. Our nanobubble generator machine takes water and gas and processes it through a high pressure system producing ultrafine bubbles. It can process anywhere about 25 to 1,000 gallons per minute, producing 1 billion nanobubbles per milliliter of water, achieving supersaturated dissolved oxygen levels. By integrating this technology into farming, we'll be reducing water usage, boosting crop growth, and will be ultimately making shorter crop cycles. To increase the profits for farmers, coming to our test cases, we have tested our technology on 2 identical rose samples in 2 different water samples. One in nanobubble water and one was tap water. And as you can see, the results are striking. The one in tap water after 2 weeks is completely dried off, while the nanobubble water was fresh, vibrant, and full of life. And we didn't stop here. When we extended this experiment up till 1 month, the one in tap water got algae into it, while the nanobubble water was fresh, which proves its capabilities. It isn't just revolutionizing irrigation, but also in aquaculture, lake rejuvenation, wastewater treatment plants, and even in healthcare via targeted drug delivery system. Coming to where we are and what are next steps, we are actively collaborating with top institutions. And at U of M, I'm in process of submitting MyTech's research grant proposal under Biosystems Engineering Department to test this technology in aeroponics, hydroponics, and capillary farming. I'm also in talks with the University of Alberta Dean, Dr. Amanullah, to test this technology in lake rejuvenation and wastewater treatment plant. And there are also researches going at McGill for targeted drug delivery system. Thank you.
Great job. Okay, we have questions for Ajay. Oh, I see a lot of notes being made.
Yep.
Okay. They're still deliberating. Okay, we're ready. Here we go.
I'll go first. Very well done. I have a question around intellectual property protection.
Yeah.
That's something that happens with my office, and you know So my question for you is that what are the plans for that, and what has been done so far?
So yeah, we are currently in beta testing phase, and this technology we are bringing it a transfer of technology from one of the top 5 companies which have been working in this sector. And this technology is so new, like it was invented in 2018. And we have partnered with a company. We'll be getting the machine from them and we'll be testing it on the Canadian soil. And there is not even a single manufacturer of this machine in Canada. So we'll be the sole players. And this is IP protected. We can easily get it and test it over here.
So your IP, like I'm trying to follow up on that a little bit.
We'll be getting the licenses from them. To get the
okay.
machine tested over here and.
Okay, is there any sort of development on your side on that IP?
So I'll be conducting the beta testing phase of that one in Canada because I haven't found even a single person who knows about this technology over here. Because there's.
And are your applications, right, in the Canadian environment and in your collaborations with U of A and what have you, are those sort of novel applications of existing IP or are those comparable applications?
Yeah, we have it, the machine is existing. They have it IP under their name, but we'll be partnering with them to test it, bring it over the Canadian soil and running their research over here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you can add me in that group who had never heard of a nanobubble before. So can you, I know this is like a little bit of early days, but could you tell me a little bit about an ideal first customer? Go down the road a bit. Who would you imagine to be an early adopter?
So very first adopters will be the hydroponics, aeroponics, and the indoor controlled environment farmers because the results it's providing in that sector are kind of, the yields it's providing with this water used in that sector is 20 times more than the normal water. So we are constantly working on that one and we have partnered with one of our university startup, little greenhouse that could. So she's more than happy to interested to test our machine over her sector.
Oh, really neat. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Great job, Jerry. Okay, give it to Jen.